Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from the Ridgecrest Police Department, Saturday's Democratic debate, Republican news, today's gas prices, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Wednick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. With the news from the Ridgecrest Police Department, we get this report. In the morning hours last Friday on 12/18, a resident in the 1000 block of South Ranger Street went out to their vehicle and started it to warm it up a while in the driveway. The resident then went inside of the house. When the victim returned a few minutes later, they discovered the vehicle had been stolen. Later that same afternoon, the stolen vehicle was found near a residence in the 1400 block of West Boston. An investigation determined that David Dame was involved in the theft of the vehicle. Ridgecrest resident David Dame, 33 years old, was booked into the Kern County Jail on charges of vehicle theft and possession of stolen property. This car owner is lucky that the Ridgecrest Police Department had the time and resources to do an immediate search and find the car. The Ridgecrest Police Department reminds citizens to be diligent when leaving an operating, unlocked vehicle unattended. This is the second vehicle in the past 2 weeks that has been stolen in this manner and in the same general area. Don't start your car and leave it unattended. Well, last Saturday there was another presidential debate. This time it was the Democrats, Clinton, Sanders, and O'Malley, squaring off for their debate. Well, ABC moderators did a pretty good job. The questions were mostly substantial, except one. The only difference was the questions were phrased so as to not make Sanders and O'Malley attack Clinton. However, O'Malley did take on both of them on a few issues. They all performed well and seemed intelligent on the issues. However, their approaches to some issues were quite different. The lead question was about Sanders' team getting access to Clinton's campaign records via the DNC website. Sanders announced that he was already fired one person for doing it and will fire others if it is determined they were involved as well. After being probed by the moderator, Sanders offered Clinton an apology for this breach. Clinton appeared to accept the apology. National security took up a few questions, as well it should. On the Syria war issue, O'Malley just wanted to stay out of it completely. Sanders was kind of vague and offered no real solution, but he did say he felt it should be up to the other Muslim nations in the Middle East to fight the war. Clinton really gave the Republicans an attack point when she strongly stated that the U.S. finally has ISIS where we want them. There is no one that believes we have ISIS where we want them. Even pundits on left-leaning media news sources questioned her statement. On the refugee issue, all of them felt any pause in letting in people from Muslim nations is not appropriate. In spite of the Obama administration's heads of the FBI and Homeland Security stating they can't properly screen these people, the three of them still think it's okay to let in thousands of them. The San Bernardino shooting came up. They were questioned as to why many of them, in comments after the shooting, seemed to want to talk about gun control instead of the terrorist situation. While they all agreed the shooting was terrible, there wasn't much substance to the need to fight homegrown terrorists. Instead, all three took the opportunity to turn against the NRA and that we need more gun control. Once again, they believe the NRA is the enemy stopping any meaningful new gun control. As far as attacks on Republicans, the only Republican targeted by all three candidates was against Trump. Clinton stepped into a quagmire when she stated, Trump's comments against Muslims are being used by ISIS to recruit new fighters. In the aftermath, she has been attacked as the statement is not true. Fact-check orgs cannot find any indication that ISIS is using Trump's comments in any way. The Clinton campaign over the weekend attempted to spin her comment in that she feels that they might use his comments to recruit. Trump responded on social media that it was a lie. All the candidates continued their attack on Wall Street and big banks, but Sanders was the most vocal and said the big banks will not like him when he breaks them up. O'Malley agreed with Sanders. Clinton declared that she is not afraid to take on the bankers, but offered little on what she might do. In a good question about tax increases, they were all asked on how they would pay for all these new entitlement programs they are proposing. Clinton promised no new taxes on the middle class of people earning less than $250,000 per year. However, financial people evaluating her proposals state there is not enough funds to be taxed from the rich to pay for her proposals. Sanders also challenged Clinton that she can not pay for all her programs without raising taxes on the middle class. Sanders also said Clinton is not in sync with the progressives of her party in some entitlement programs. Sanders again saying everyone should have health care and advocates for a single medical system totally paid for by the government. Sanders also is calling for college to be free to the bachelor degree level. Clinton supports free college to the associate degree level. Sanders admitted that his programs will require higher taxes on everyone to pay for them. Sanders did attack Clinton's position on some of the issues. There was a good discussion on what to do with tech companies concerning the internet and social media sites. To date, these social media sites have not agreed to help the government get access to all the secret links their sites apparently have available. These links are reported to be used by terror organizations as a means to communicate. O'Malley attacked both Sanders and Clinton many times. Clinton seemed that if she just talked to them, that they would decide to help. No new laws would be required. One moderator reminded her that the Obama administration has already tried that and got nowhere. She just spun off the comment. Sanders does say if they don't help voluntarily, that maybe something needs to be done. O'Malley says we can't risk our freedom by passing laws that would allow illegal monitoring of the internet by the government. But he offered no solution as to what he would do to support control of these terror networks on the internet. Of course, all three agreed that any of them would be better than any of the Republican candidates, echoing the Republicans saying the same thing at their debates. In the end, there were probably no knockouts thrown, and Clinton will probably continue with her lead in the race. They all have their core supporters that will stick by them. In the latest polls on the Republican side, they are still showing Trump leading in New Hampshire and South Carolina, and Cruz leading in Iowa. After Cruz and Trump, all the other candidates are way back in the numbers. On the Democrat side, Clinton is leading in Iowa and South Carolina, and Sanders is leading in New Hampshire. In this morning's poll on President Obama's approval rating, he has sunk into a new low. His disapproval rating is now 52% versus 46% approval. Now stay with us for more news about debates when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. In other debate on the debate issue, it was noted that there really aren't very many Democratic debates scheduled, and that all the debates are scheduled at low viewer watch times. The Republican debates are all scheduled in high viewer slots during the week, yet the Democratic debates are not. There is speculation that the DNC is trying to not have debates this time. In the last presidential campaign that Hillary ran in, they had already had 15 debates by this point in the campaign. This debate last Saturday was only the third debate. And get this, the next Democratic debate is scheduled on a Sunday in January against an NFL playoff game. How's that for scheduling to limit viewers? There is speculation by the Sanders campaign that Clinton and the DNC chairwoman are behind this change. The goal being to not provide any opportunity for Clinton to be hurt during one of these debates. As far as being seen so far, Clinton has each time had comments that were fact-checked later to be found untrue. While some Republicans have also been fact-checked, most of the time fact-checks found that the comments made by Republicans were mostly accurate. Trump has been caught in what his campaigns say are exaggerations, but still true on the basics of the comment. Even after initial claims that the comments were wrong. So, the debate about debates goes on. Anyway, we're done with debates until next year. Oh yeah, that's just a couple weeks away. And in the Republican presidential race, it is reported that Lindsey Graham has dropped out of the race. Apparently, today was the last day to drop out of the South Carolina race, so he chose to do so. This should lead to more of the lower-tier Republicans to drop out soon. Most people feel the field is still too big to sort out who will eventually be the Republican nominee. Only after the field gets down to about 5 people will there be any true indication as to who will lead the campaign. In the war in Syria, Reuters is reporting that Russian planes have hit the northern town of Idlib. The attack is reporting 73 dead and over 150 wounded. Most of the casualties are civilians. All the numbers are predicted to increase. There were 6 airstrikes that hit a busy market area and an area for residential homes and government buildings. This is an al-Qaeda-held city, not an ISIS-held city. But the al-Qaeda forces are opponents of Syrian dictator and Russian-supported Assad. So these attacks are probably at odds with our administration's goals that ISIS should be the focus of these attacks. The Russians don't agree. They are after everyone that doesn't support Assad. In news about California's population rate, we get this report from USA. The latest population count shows that California added nearly 350,000 people over a one-year period, bringing its total population to just under 39.1 million people, according to the Department of Finance. The growth covers the period July 1, 2014 to July 1, 2015. California, the nation's most populous state, added 346,000 people, with most of the growth caused by what's called natural increase. There were 507,000 births and 245,000 deaths. The rest comes from migration into and out of the state, resulting in 84,000 new people. California added about 145,000 people from other countries and lost 61,000 to other states. We're getting just below 1% of growth a year now. It shows the state's recovery since the recession is ongoing. California has gained more than 1.8 million people since the 2010 U.S. Census, department officials said. Much of the growth has been in urban coastal counties, although inland counties have posted growth in recent years as people move away from urban centers for more affordable housing. Of the state's 58 counties, 5 accounted for more than half of California's population growth. They are the Southern California counties of Los Angeles, Orange, San Diego, and Riverside, and the Northern California county of Santa Clara. Smaller counties and remote areas continue to lose people or post very small gains. Department officials said Los Angeles County gained the most with nearly 69,000 added, bringing its total population to nearly 10.2 million people. Wow. San Diego is the state's second most populous county, followed by Orange County, with more than 3 million people each. Now in KZGN's continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's gas prices for Ridgecrest and some surrounding areas. Well, since my last report last Friday, gas prices are steady here, but going up slightly in other areas we monitor. That's good news as we head towards the Christmas holiday. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is still ranging from $2.61 to $2.99 per gallon. Lancaster is going from $2.69 to $2.94. The LA Valley area, $2.57 to $2.69. And the Bishop area, $2.71 to $2.99. We have 4 stations coming in at the $2.61 amount. Tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for updates. We at KZGN always suggest you shop locally to support our local economy. Remember, when you pay sales tax out of town, you're helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Now stay with us for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane with the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, the next in a series of storms will impact the Pacific Northwest and Northern California on Monday, with heavy rainfall, mountain snow, strong winds, and possible flooding. Meanwhile, heavy rainfall and localized flooding are possible along the central Gulf Coast. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas at 66, Georgia at 56, Arkansas at 66, Northern Texas at 61, Arizona at 57, and Los Angeles at 58. And for us locally, tonight, a 30% chance of rain, mostly cloudy with a low around 48, southwest wind 15 miles per hour. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high near 64, west-southwest wind 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 37, west-southwest wind 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high near 57, west wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 32, west wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday, a 20% chance of rain, partly sunny with a high near 54, west wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
Thanks, Lane. And now here's Mr. Tom Hecht with sports.
And a very pleasant Monday, early evening. A lot of sports over the weekend. Boy, this is a time of year where college football bowl games, the NBA is in full swing, NHL in full swing, all kinds of stuff going on. And we can't forget about all the NFL stuff that's going on right now. Some great games on Sunday. Let's catch up to some bowl games over the weekend. The New Mexico Bowl was probably the best game of the day. Arizona beat New Mexico 45-37. Bob Davies has done a great job, the former Notre Dame coach at New Mexico. That's the first bowl game they have been to in 8 years. They haven't won a bowl game in about 20, but that program is on the way up after being well below 500 the last 8 or 9 seasons. Camellia Bowl, Appalachian State beat Ohio 31-29. They had to score 4 times in the second half to do that. They came from behind. The New Orleans Bowl, Louisiana Tech all over Arkansas State. The Vegas Bowl was interesting for a while anyway. Utah was ahead 35-0. That was in the first quarter. The final score, 35-28. BYU would have maybe got to the phone by the 8th ring to start the first quarter. They might have won that game. And the Cure Bowl, C-U-R-E, and we're trying to get all these bowl games in. San Jose State a winner. They beat Georgia State. NBA. Let's take a look at some of the standings. But on Sunday, the winners were Miami, Minnesota, Atlanta. Boy, Atlanta's now won 3 in a row. Sacramento, New Orleans, and Milwaukee. Milwaukee beat the Suns on Sunday night after losing to the Lakers and the Clippers in Los Angeles. Looking at some of the standings right now, out west, Golden State 26-1. Only loss was to the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. San Antonio 23-5 right now. They hold down the number 2 spot. Oklahoma City, the Clippers, and Dallas right after that. And the Lakers, if you're wondering about the Lakers, 4 wins, 23 losses. They're really going to have to kick things in gear if they want to play in the month of May in the NBA playoffs. Looking at the East, the NBA East is much improved. Last year, you had to fight and struggle to get 4 teams that were over 500. This year, a lot of parity. It's about time. The East has been down the last 3 or 4 years. Cleveland 18-7. Miami 16-10, but Miami a lot better this year. Indianapolis 16-10, they're a lot better this year also. Chicago 15-10, Toronto and Atlanta both 17-12, followed by Charlotte and Detroit. Now, all those teams mentioned above are all over 500. That's 9 teams over 500 in the East. That says a lot about the East after last year. The 76ers, well, not so good. They have lost 28 of 29. The trivia question, who was their only win? The answer, you guessed it, our Lakers. Okay, NFL, Carolina, 14-0. They beat the Giants. Wasn't easy, though. It was at first. 35-7 was the score early in the third quarter, only to see the Giants storm back, tie the game at 35, and Carolina kicked a winning field goal with 2 minutes to go to beat the Giants. 38-35, tough loss for Tom Coughlin and crew. The Giants right now find themselves a game out of first place in that East. It is very full of parity or bad teams, however you want to look at it. Cincinnati basically clinched their division. They beat San Francisco. On tomorrow's Sportscast, we'll take a look at the standings in the NFL. Also, Seattle in the playoff hunt. They beat Cleveland. They're now 9 wins, 5 losses. Kansas City wins again. They're 9-5. They beat Baltimore in Baltimore. Pittsburgh beats Denver. Pittsburgh scored 3 times in the second half to do that. They were down by 2 scores at halftime. They shut out Denver in the second half. Great defensive night for Pittsburgh. Now the Steelers find themselves at 9-5. Minnesota beats Chicago. Houston beats Indianapolis. Houston now 7-7. You say, so what? Good enough, though, for first place in the South. So, if Houston can win their next 2 games, they will win the Southern Division and get themselves in the playoffs. And the San Diego Chargers defeated Miami yesterday, their 4th win of the year. And the big question is, are they going to stay in San Diego, or are they going to drive up I-5 and play in Los Angeles? Time will tell. A lot of fans, though, are doing the best they can to keep the Chargers in San Diego. That's your sports for this Monday early evening. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk coming up next.